Hi, I am very glad to be here with you. My name is Dr. Dina Evan, and we are about to take you on a wonderful journey. I'm going to give you some wonderful tools for empowering your life, and I'm going to teach you some truths that are going to change the quality of your life, that will put you back on purpose, and will tell you exactly the direction you want to go in. But before I do that, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. And the reason I want to do that is because otherwise I'm just dumping some tools in your tool bag and you're not going to be able to see how it actually works. So I also want to review why you are so critical to changing the direction that we're going in right now. So I'll tell you a little bit about me. I grew up in an empty room. The most intimate moment I ever had with my mother was at the moment of my birth. And the most intimate moment I ever had with my father was the moment I reached across his chest and buttoned his shirt after his last breath. But spirit has stayed with me from before my first breath through every agony and joy, as though my survival was as important as its very own. And I think I get that in a way, because we are part of spirit in the same way my hand is part of my body. And so if I flourish and I become enlightened, so does the universe and so does spirit. So in all of the years in my life, in the midst of trying times, every triumph, every birth, every loss of a child, every new awareness, spirit was somehow there. In that funny feeling that I know you have too, that something more important in your life is with you. So actually, I think I became aware of spirit when I was about 5. My mom was an alcoholic. She was drunk most of the time in my life. And my dad was either emotionally abusive or gone. We lived in a ranch, and every weekend ended up being a raucous, loud, crazy, drunken party with all the ranch hands and everybody, all the neighbors. So after I realized this was going to be an ongoing process, I knew I needed a place to hide. And so I found that place hidden in the back of the house in a little tiny bathroom. And each weekend or each night when they would have these wild parties, I would go sneak off to my safe place, and I would pray that that little latch hook, that goes on the door, would not come flying off in my face as some drunken cowboy came busting through. Luckily, most of the guys didn't have that kind of patience, and so they went outside. But one night, while huddled in the corner, I was looking at the floor, and all of a sudden I noticed this little brown spider crawling around on it. And I felt some sense of connection with that spider that I couldn't explain at the time. I just started talking to it. I think maybe out of my loneliness. And then I started saying, okay, go this way. Okay, now go this way. And then go that way. And then come toward me. And it felt as if in that connection, we were in some sort of tunnel, that spider and I. We were totally connected in that protected, sweet space. And the spider started following my directions. All the things I was thinking in my mind. And somehow, although I did not realize the enormity of that at 5, I knew we were all connected to each other and every living thing in some incredibly beautiful way. And I know that you have felt that too. Maybe for a fleeting moment, or maybe for a long time. So it's no accident that you are listening to this, or that you're here on the earth right now. And this is the reason. We have lost that sense of connection to the planet and to each other and to whatever you feel is God, nature, the universe, the tree outside. And believe me, that connection is critical to our survival. It's as critical as the air we breathe. And without it, we're not going to survive. And that's why I want to give you the best secret you've ever heard and ask you the most important question you've ever been asked. So, here's the secret. This planet is a school. However, the classes you need most in your life are not in a classroom. Every person in your life is a master teacher, And your response to every experience you have, every challenge you have, reflects the truth of who you are back to you. Now, here's something you may or may not agree with, because we like to kick and scream. You signed up for this class because this planet is about enlightenment, and that is your main purpose. You are in the center of an evolution in this planet, and in the center of every relationship, there is a path to enlightenment. You made a contract with yourself to come here and push your own soul forward. So here's my question. Are you being who you came here to be? And are you doing what you came here to do? Stop for a minute and think about that. And as you think about that question, I want to share some examples of how this truth of being in consciousness school and having master teachers has worked in my life. Because I think if you can see it in my life, you'll begin to awaken how it's working in yours. Okay? So even though my mom was an alcoholic and never there, I learned so much from her. I learned what it looked like when you don't love yourself. And in all fairness, she also taught me what it looks like to love strangers without any prejudice at all. It didn't matter what language you spoke, it didn't matter what color you were, it didn't matter how much money you had. If you were a good person, my mother loved you. So my mother was a master teacher for me about the need to love myself and to love others without hesitation or prejudice. My dad was a very strong guy who exaggerated. No, let's tell the truth, he lied about everything and was never there. So when I say he was strong, I mean he had guts and he had a temper that he usually took out on my mom. And he taught me what the misuse of power looks like. And I was committed early on never to misuse my power. He also taught me that lying was an act of disrespect for myself and for the other person. Because when he started lying and I knew he was doing it, I never trusted him again. What great gifts of awareness, right? He also told me I could do anything I wanted to if I wanted badly enough. Now he had in parentheses, as long as you do it my way. But I sort of skipped that part. Pretty great gifts, don't you think? Out of that hardship, I signed up for great gifts. My life wasn't easy. I left home at 13, and I began working while I finished high school, and then I began working my way up to better jobs. I had 4 kids, and I was working for the city of Phoenix as the motion picture coordinator for the mayor's office, earning $21,000 a year, and going home, putting on my waitress apron and waiting tables, while bringing $21 million a year into the city in motion picture money. So finally, I was exhausted, couldn't take it anymore, packed up my kids and moved to California, where eventually I put myself through school and became a therapist. So both of my parents were master teachers in my life, and I love them for that. I also love my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren. They too are master teachers in my life. The ones who love me and have stayed have given me the experience of something I never had as a child. Totally unconditional love. The ones that I've lost have taught me to breathe through the pain of loss and remember that once you really love someone and it's real, it never really changes, even in their absence. For instance, I have a daughter who left our family when she was 18. She got involved with a religion that does not allow her to have any kind of participation with her family of origin. So people ask me about that and they say, "Aren't you angry about that? That's crazy." And my answer is always, how can I be angry? She is doing exactly what I taught her to do, and that is to live her beliefs. Did it break my heart? Yeah. Did it teach me to love unconditionally? Yes. Another great lesson and reminder in this life is for us to love the people in our families or in our lives before they wake up as much as we love them after they wake up. And there may be times when we really need to have some boundaries about some people. A master teacher once said to me, if that person coming through your door who creates so much drama, pain, and chaos that you can't stay on purpose, your job is to close the door. because you must respect your purpose for being here, and you must do what you came to do. So, as you can tell, I've lived a big scoop of life. 2 years after my divorce, on my first date, I also became a member of the Me Too Club. You know what that is. While my kids were growing up, I had to work at least 2 jobs most of the time when my children were small, and some of them still hurt and resent that. In my activist life, I have marched with and spoken to legislative bodies and huge crowds with people like Whoopi Goldberg and Patty Duke and Kathy Najimy and Gloria Steinem and Dick Gregory and his beautiful wife Lillian. I married 10,000 gay men and women on the steps of the IRS in a demonstration for equal rights, and got audited 7 times after that. I guess they finally gave up when they got tired of owing me money every time. I fasted 37 days on water with 6 other women, with Dick Gregory and his wife Lillian in Springfield, Illinois in 1982 for the Equal Rights Amendment. The Equal Rights Amendment was originally written by Alice Paul and Crystal Eastman and was introduced in Congress in 1921. And we are still fighting for something as simple and as fair as equal pay for equal work. Unbelievable. So it was passed in 1982 in all but 5 states, and we started to get really excited about it. We only needed 3 more states to get it passed nationally. And the day before it was to pass, our 37th day on water, the insurance companies came in and bought off the 3 senators who had promised us their vote. So for 61 years of walking precincts, making presentations, walking the halls of Congress to lobby, all of that was gone with 3 votes in 10 minutes. And I'm telling you these things because each challenge and each person and every circumstance in my life, including this one, was a master teacher for me. This is what I learned about that loss. In 1982, I stopped asking for equality, and I gave it to myself. I did it along with millions of other women who began opening their own companies, hiring and promoting other women. I learned that if I did not stand up for equality for everyone, regardless of their belief, their life choice, their color, their nationality, I was not free, because freedom has to be for everybody or it's not free. It's not freedom. I learned there had to be no loss that could kill me, because nothing did. No criticism that could hurt me. No lie that could bring me down. I learned that I could go through anything, including 37 days without food, while people walked in front of us eating candy bars, thinking we would trade our right to equality for a Mars bar. I stopped being afraid or asking anyone for anything that I should be giving to myself. Now think about that. You have gone through terrible things in your life. And out of those terrible things, you gave yourself enormous gifts. But you may not realize it right now because you haven't looked at it in that perspective. And that's why I keep saying to you, this planet is a school. Everything that happens to you is a gift. It's a class you signed up for, and every person you walk with is a teacher, and a teacher you signed up for. I also realized that I could not grieve my own spirit or diminish myself by doing things that were not in alignment with my own values and pretending I didn't know better. I had to stop playing small because it literally made me sick to my stomach when I didn't stand in my values. I knew that I could not play small and pretend that I wasn't a spiritual person who came here to do what I came here to do and be who I came here to be. Because if I did, I was abandoning every child that came after me, my grandchildren, my children, your children. So teaching spirituality became the center of my work. I also learned that not playing small meant I had to take responsibility for every single thing that has happened in my life and to own it as something I created to help push my soul forward. Nothing in your life is anyone else's fault, regardless. Once I owned that reality, I realized that I also had the power to change it. And immediately, the moment you get that, you stop being a victim. And so did I. And so for the last 40 years, I've done workshops and seminars for thousands of people all over the country and spent more than 40,000 hours doing individual and couples work and counseling with a 90% success rate with people who want to wake up and grow in their relationships and individually. We all want that. It's in our heart. We long for that. They wish to heal themselves and their relationships, and they understand why they came here and how they can live on purpose and with joy. I've also taught hundreds of other therapists these skills as well. So, all of these people, every family member and client, every seminar attendee, and every student has also been a master teacher for me. And they've taught me more than I could ever have learned in school or alone. In fact, I often tell people I had no idea how little I knew until I sat down with my first client. The people who you're aligned with and who are aligned with your energy and truth will seek you out and show up because they feel the truth you're holding and they feel the connection they long for. Just stay focused on your work and always remember the secret to your enlightenment is sitting right across from you in the middle of your connections with other people and then in the middle of your decisions in every challenge and your right to be who you truly are. And so, my sweet people, this world is filled with crisis and joy, loss and pain, love and beauty, and challenge after challenge after challenge. And you have chosen to be in service to your own soul. Celebrate your life from that perspective. Because once you really get that, you are in control and nobody else can control you. As you continue this process, take some time to identify the master teachers in your life and what you have learned from them. Integrate it, hold it close. Also identify the challenges and the circumstances that have taught you to step into your own power and discover your purpose. Forgive yourself when you didn't do that. Thank you for listening, learning, and being here on the path with us now to change the planet and lift our level of consciousness for everyone. There's nothing more important you could be doing and nothing more important you will have ever done. I love you. Thank you.